Essentially, the game starts off with...
This is awesome. The screen froze again.
Yeah!
Hitting reopen.
We have to do it
Are you
again?
dropping frames, Possum?
Oh, it says I am dropping frames, yeah.
That will do it.
God.
So I'm just gonna have to keep hitting this reopen button because it's gonna keep freezing.
Yay. Good times.
Ah,
Internet fun.
sorry
On a
about this,
marathon.
guys.
Never happened before.
All right, shall we continue then, or...
Yeah, I guess keep going and don't stop. And if it's completely awful because it just dropping too many frames keeps freezing, we'll stop and try to figure out how to stop it from dropping frames.
Worst
Okay.
case scenario, I can always, like, I'm available all day today, tomorrow, stuff like that. We can always reschedule me if needed. I don't know.
All right.
Okay, well, I'm gonna start the timer. We're gonna get this going, goddammit.
Yeah, we'll make
It's
it work.
bad, guys, so carry on.
Yeah,
All right,
sorry
cool.
about that,
So-
guys.
So, as I was getting to, the game starts with a pretty important glitch for a lot of time save, as well as some item skipping and things of that nature. But essentially, the first boss is Thunder Pig, and essentially when you're fighting the boss, what you want to do is take damage while you're finishing him off. And what this will allow you to do is move during the cutscene. This will be coming up in a little bit. I'm just trying to talk about it all because it's kind of a long-winded thing. But essentially, you get to move while the cutscene's going on, but you're sort of playing blind for a section. And there's kind of a time element to the whole thing, because while this is going on, you're trying to get a couple of items and skip a few sort of checkpoints, if you will, so that basically you can go through this area without dealing with the cutscenes, as well as I think it allows you to skip use of an item entirely, which makes it essentially only used until the end of the game. So it's just something you got to pick up, and then you're good to go. One of the first items you'll see used is this freezing powder. It looks like a little bag in the Y slot there, and it just freezes enemies in the area, which is really helpful and a very often used item. And then here's the Thunder Pig, as I was talking about. So she's going to deal with him, just to do the damage, and then right as it's taking him down, she's going to take the hit, which you saw there. And now this is actually supposed to be a cutscene, but instead of it, showing the whole cutscene, she's actually doing stuff on the side. And the tricky part is not going too far during a section before a password, because if you do, you won't be able to correctly set up for the second part of the glitch. So hopefully we'll see that going on here. But it's also going to start glitching a couple of the sprites, which are going to look pretty awesome here in a moment. But we'll see if she got this off. Excellent. So she's going to take damage here because it, again, triggers the ability to move during the cutscene, grab the item on the right, and then move to the left. These little enemies that are sort of glitching out, they can be kind of mean and RNG-ish in the sense that they can hit you multiple times, and there's not much you can really do. So hopefully we won't have to deal too much with it. There we go. And this allows you to essentially go into this area here, as I was saying. And then the next part is going to be to pick up an item here, and then during the cutscene with this fairy, which this pond is essentially where you throw items to get other items. One of the ones you just picked up there was a balloon. This is really helpful because it kind of has like an animation that is invulnerable. So it allows you to kind of skim it, as well as there's a section later on, which by doing so will also preserve air because you'll be underwater. So it's a very helpful item, very useful. But here coming up is that second part of the glitch, as I mentioned, and then we should be good to go going for everything. And you see that the sprite's all glitched here, as I was saying, which is perfect. I'm gonna keep moving on and trigger a final cutscene as we go into a forest, essentially. There's a little bit of time related to it, so here's that counting. And it looks like we're good. Awesome. So now we get to see sort of this cutscene going on while again we move. We get to see missing waifu, which is essentially the princess that we're trying to rescue, so to speak, in the sense that it's kind of who he's like in love with, I suppose. But of course, because I was mentioning earlier, there's a bunch of glitching going on. So yeah, that's her right there.
Masingo in all of her curveness. Isn't she lovely? Isn't she beautiful?
But yeah, I believe that's the tricky glitchy part. Unless there's one more piece. Is there one more piece?
No,
Am I
that's
missing a
it.
piece?
That's basically the big glitch. We're done with it. It's over. We have we can actually talk freely, banter, all that fun jazz.
Yeah, so one thing, had a little bit of tidbits for this. She mentioned in the intro that this game was made by Westwood Studios, or at least developed by. They actually went on to create Command & Conquer, which I think is a particularly interesting thing, because those games have nothing in common.
Well, it has the 90s in it, you know?
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
But so,
I don't think I've
ahead.
mentioned, this game was, of course, made in the 90s, so of course this game has everything in it, guys, in regards to, like, our 90s. You'll see, but yeah, it has 90s in it. But yeah, just...
yeah, so
Go ahead, Vic. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, so the game has some puzzle elements to it. It has this sort of like, the way I would describe it is it's kind of like a mix between like top-down NES or SNES games with like point-and-click adventure games from like the PC era, because it's got a lot of the sort of arbitrary items and things like that that have to be used in the right way, and the weird puzzles that kind of come with that, but all done in that sort of SNES style of like a top-down adventure game.
Yeah. So, I just gave an item to a wizard. I don't know if I'm ahead or behind stream-wise, but we gave him an item with the power of wood and screws and drilling. He gave us a gold fishbowl. He made that himself. And he's talking about how he lost his red herring. You know, find it. We agree. We're off again.
Now, interesting enough, despite this guy looking like the Merlin, he's not the Merlin, because the main character, again, is the young Merlin.
Yeah, I think in the guide they call him like casserole lore or something like that. I just call him casserole. Make him dish-like.
Also, this may be the only game in the history of any game I've ever heard of where you actually have to get the red herring, as opposed to, you know, it being a literal red herring.
Yeah. Well, no, there's some point-and-click adventure games where you have to obtain a red herring. You know, Monkey Island.
Okay, fair enough. I always forget about Monkey Island.
Oh, shame on you, sir.
Hey. I mean, I don't forget about it like I don't know it exists, but I always forget that item's actually used.
It is. Okay, anywho, I'm going through the mines here. There is a part in this mines that, in a, you know, trying to get a world record PB run would kill the run. We're going to be going through this mine door pretty quick here as soon as I grab a red jewel. There's a bunch of grooves in there, and based on how nice they want to be today or not, they're going to let me pass or they're going to eat me.
Yeah, yesterday when we were doing a little practice run, it decided, I think it was like 5 times in a row.
3 or
Hopefully we
4,
don't get
yeah,
that
I
this
blame
time.
it all on Fig.
Yeah, definitely blame me. That's totally fine. I'm used to being blamed. But we're gonna grab this gem here, and then this danger area literally has an RNG of you either get eaten or you. Oh wait, look, first try.
Yeah,
Ooh, yeah.
they want to participate. They must have been like, we know our internet's garbage today, so let's just be nice to her.
There we go. So yeah, sometimes what will happen instead is they'll eat you, and just you have to start the dungeon over.
So just a heads up, guys, I will be focusing here. We are introducing a new gimmick to the game. I need to concentrate. Fig would take it from here, explain what's so special about this new gimmick in this game. So yeah.
So essentially there's these sections, there's I think 3 of them, one that's kind of broken up at the end, but there are these minecart sections, and what makes them tricky is just simply that the inputs can be kind of tight, and it's all about memorization, because you have to sort of maneuver yourself to move left or right, or you know, to move on the track, but also to skip sort of openings. Luckily this first one is fairly straightforward and doesn't have too much of that issue, so it's mostly just remembering exactly where you need to go. And typically these carts only have one successful track. So when you're playing this game casually, it's all about knowing through trial and error, essentially, where you need to go. This particular minecart, what you need to use it for is to break a hole, which will get us to a pond, essentially. And that pond's where we're going to get that red herring we mentioned earlier, as well as a couple of other important pieces. Later on, the minecarts have more of what I would say arbitrary value, in the sense that they don't actually really do anything to get the area you need to go to. A couple of them may jump over pits or something like that, but there's one in particular where it just makes no sense. I don't understand why they would throw it in there, but hey, you know, it's those 90s games, man. They like to throw the weird thing in. But
like my chat calls it, they call it the Tony Hawk Skater Edition, so we just experienced the Tony Hawk minecart racer of the series.
But yeah, you can see it opened the hole in the wall there, which got us here to the pond I was mentioning. Do you want to talk about this section?
The water part, yeah, it's annoying. Basically, when you first go through the underwater section, you are running on 3 bubbles with no air. So what you need to do is go to these mermaids and, you know, kiss them, you know, get like fish rot, gill rot 2, whatever disease fish mermaids would carry in their fishiness, I imagine. And yeah, just get to this corner area, use the balloon and grab the blue gem. And then we backtrack, because this game is wanting us to backtrack a couple of times through this area. There is a couple random creatures that show up that can cause some issues. The hammerhead shark and the cat and dog, you actually get to see both of them because they want to make a grand appearance in the stream, apparently. Best way to skip them is using the balloon. I know you can take the hit, but actually taking a hit takes air away from you, which you really don't want to deal with, because once you lose air, you go back to the first light you jumped through.
Right. And just as a reminder, don't forget the water this time.
Thank you, Fig. I won't try not to. So once we're done with the water section, back to the mines. There's a dwarf we death warp on. He's our best friend. We use him a bunch of times to, you know, warp on.
Not to navigate this particular section the multiple times, because
Yeah.
again, it has that adventure style of, hey, we gotta backtrack a whole bunch, because that's what you do in adventure games.
So as Fig reminded me, I need to get some water.
This is sort of like bubbles that you can kind of see coming up here. If they go fast, they knock you over, which is just time loss as well as air loss. Luckily, they didn't cause any issues here. Hopefully, on the way back, we won't have any as well.
Funny.
We'll see how that goes.
Funny story about that.
Oh.
And even more of a
I
funny
had to say
story.
something.
One of our random encounters just has to show up to make an appearance again.
So yeah, those little stream bubbles, you have to pay a lot of attention because the difference between them hitting you and not hitting you is like minor. Oh, and of course the hammerhead shark being a hammerhead sharkery.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming because he knocked you over and then you died from air loss, you have to go back and get the fish.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
the
this is one
downfall.
of these. Yeah. Go
If
ahead.
you die in this particular area of getting that red herring, it will transport you back, so you have to do this section again.
Yeah, unluckily.
You just gotta make sure you're on your toes and make sure you hit the balloon button, which I didn't. Lesson learned.
Yeah, so unfortunately we couldn't do like a death warp there, which would be very helpful actually.
Oh, it would be.
'cause you could just walk to the area or run out of air or whatever you want to do and then just get back. But nope, we have to do that section again if we fail. So once again, we're coming up on another quick death warp because why would we want to navigate this dungeon multiple times when we can avoid it? Yeah, we wouldn't want to do that.
No.
It's a speed run. Save the
No.
frames, right?
Yeah, we have no time to walk through mines.
Yeah, so now we'll be bringing the red herring to the wizard, and he's going to do some really interesting things with some not so useful materials to get us an item we need.
Well, of course, rather than, focusing on his magical spells and that, he'd rather focus on, like, arts and crafts and, like, building his stuff, so... Yeah.
But this particular one amuses me greatly. Amuses me greatly what he puts together for us. He's such a derpy looking wizard too.
Very, very derpy.
And he made a spring.
Yes, with the power of sawing and screws, he made us a spring.
Yeah, there's all that wood in that spring.
I guess that's how it gets its, like, elasticity, I believe I'm looking for, that word, its bounciness, its spring,
Yeah. One might say that it puts a spring in your step.
I guess it does, oh.
I had to throw at least one bad pun in here.
Yeah, you're punny. It's funny, I like doing the bad puns when I'm playing Ancient Cave, and there's none I can think of in this game. Oh, Doris are not being nice today. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, that's good. Nice little dwarfs.
Yeah,
Again, I'm still surprised you're not freezing them.
your seat. I decided to smarten up.
Oh, good. This is a smart move.
Oh yeah. And of course,
But
once
yeah.
again, because, this game loves us going back and forth, we're going back through the water again.
So this time we're actually going forward, so it's a little bit nicer this time.
That's true, we are going forward. I will agree with you there.
We get to pick up the D-pad.
Oh, the D-pad. So I'm gonna quickly, when I'm doing this, I usually go into the menu to shuffle through items to get the spring. You see how spring it is?
Yeah, like I said, spring in your step.
Yep. And then
Oh, that animation when he's in the bubble is ridiculous.
see, I give this game kudos. The animation isn't bad.
Oh yeah, guys, write down the password. We're gonna need that later.
Oh yeah, please do, totally. I wasn't paying attention. Like, please do. I accept tacos too as passwords, by the by.
So this is the first locking puzzle, essentially. I'm not entirely certain what the like information that gives you the actual right password here is, but essentially you fill these little basins up and it turns off the fire. Yay, the fire!
Yep.
And then we're gonna do some pushing puzzles because again, block puzzles.
This,
Gotta have everything.
yeah, this game has everything. So we're doing our big puzzle solving adventure right now. Gotta have the sliding puzzles in this game.
Now, did you decide whether you're going to do the puzzles all, or if you're going to do the halfway
You know,
point
I
and
might
go
as well do
back?
half and then, you know, do that way.
All right, because you have to backtrack one more time. It's backtracking. What we're going to do instead here is the mirror, which is an item in this dungeon, and then go back and then get the last piece that we need before going forward, and then we're going to come back through here and finish off the puzzle. It's probably faster to do it that way, but we haven't taken the time to actually time the differences out, whether or not one's faster than the other. They may
No.
actually just be the same speed.
I was
Who
gonna
knows?
say, just blame me and my motivation to do so versus motivation to being lazy.
But yeah, these pushing puzzles aren't terribly complicated, but they are definitely a time sink, as you were saying.
Oh, I don't know. Both are debatable. But yeah, it's funny, like, there's actually a task of this. And in the task, like, he doesn't do anything fancy. The thing actually solves the puzzles.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it was either the 100% playthrough or the task. I'm not sure which was. Goes through the person that we need the mirror for by damage boosting. It'd be interesting to incorporate something like that into the any percent run, because that might allow us to skip the mirror entirely.
Yeah, like, the task is interesting. It does things that, of course, we can't do skip-wise, and it actually goes for the heart containers, which, yes, in this game, there are 9 heart containers in this game. And of course, heart containers, obviously, to explain, they increase Merlin's health. We don't go for them because this is any percent. If for some reason I decide to do a category for 100% on this game, that would incorporate all the heart containers. But Virgin Games actually had a contest for that. If you collected all 9 heart pieces, I had to fight with my internet to get. Rather than spending my early morning practicing.
Yep.
So I'm gonna pick up some blue water at the fairy lake. I actually need to use that to skip, getting an item later on. The blue fairy water essentially gives you invisibility. We're gonna use that to advantage.
Ability, not invisibility,
Oh.
but you know.
Oh, fig. Stop it.
Oh, you knew I was going to do it at least once.
I know. I
But yeah,
know.
well, iframes to skip an item, which is always good.
Just be glad I didn't screw up saying task. Like, jeez.
I was hoping for it. I was really hoping.
I was better. Sorry, I have a tendency of saying taskbot because I'm slightly blondish, so you know. To jump over when we get to that part, and then we're back here solving more puzzles.
Yep, get to go back to the water.
Oh yeah. In all of his fishy goodness.
Is this the last time you have to go through here, or is there one more?
Yes, this is the last time.
Yes!
I know, so exciting. Once you run this a couple of times, you get kind of tired of certain things in the game. I'm not saying which parts, but you know.
Yeah, the backtracking aspect is unfortunate, but is kind of par for the course with this style of game, as I was describing earlier.
Yeah.
Now, luckily, because we did some of the puzzles earlier, the gates are still open, so we'll still have to push some of these into the right positions, but the gates themselves are open, so we don't have to do those puzzles any further. Kind of back through this section, as opposed to having to do all the puzzles again, which is the reason why it's okay to go in and then come back.
Yeah, which is a nice perk of this game. Like, it's kind of forgiving in the sense that you don't have to solve those puzzles again. That's a nice perk, I guess, of this game.
I mean, it's definitely better than having to do all of them over again. But I guess at that point, you'd probably...
So yeah, we should be coming up to our second boss here, or at the second boss.
Right. This is, oh, I can't remember his name. It's like Boop-to-Doop or something like that.
His name is Bloop.
Bloop, there it is. I like Boop-to-Doop better. This boss kill is pretty cool. Essentially, we stand at like a safe spot. He bounces around for a while, then he sort of explodes, and then we freeze the blobs and then defeat them sort of simultaneously, as opposed to all of the things jumping around and defeating them. So it makes for a very quick kill.
Yeah,
nice.
And if you accidentally leave one last slime left, he actually changes color to a red one. It's faster, it bounces around quite a bit, it has more health, which does add a lot of time to the run.
Yeah. So you saw right there's this little sort of minecart scooping device. This is what I was talking about earlier with, like, I don't understand why he didn't just do, ignore the minecart section, because you could just ride that down, since the item we're going to be getting is literally straight down. So after you do the minecarts, you get to just go up and be done.
Sorry, Fig, we're speaking of minecarts, I need to focus on minecarts section. Spoiler alert.
Right. Yes, which is part of the reason why I was bringing it up, is there'll be a little bit of a focus here. So as the minecarts progress, they get a little bit harder, and they get a little bit more sort of additions to them. This next one, if I recall correctly, has the addition of the springs, and those just basically put you backward. But before we get down there, just to note, the reason we use the mirror right there is essentially through a decoy, which allows you to walk past that statue, which would follow you otherwise. Since the mirror, its ability is to drop a decoy that enemies are aggro to, so it's very helpful for boss fights. Even sure we necessarily use. Dang it, we missed one here.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
He forgot to mention there are potholes now in this segment, so Those are fun.
Oh, right. Yeah. Basically, they're missing pieces of the track, and you have to wiggle past them, which is where the inputs can get kind of tight. This one's not so bad.
Yeah, you get punched. You get punched hard. But at the go ahead, Fig.
Yeah,
Sorry.
go ahead. No, I was gonna let you talk about the boss fight.
Boss fight is pretty easy. Basically, you just you wait for him to summon these 3 little eyeballs. You use the mirror, you shoot them with a star till they die. Repeat that pattern 3 times. And then he'll want to be in a fighting stance. You just ram into him, and that's the fight. Kinda anticlimactic, I want to say.
Yeah, but yeah, that's how you defeat him. You get punched. Yeah.
And of course, with that, defeating that boss means we are done with the entire area. We can go home, we can say goodbye to the mines, goodbye to the water, goodbye to the puzzles, all that fun stuff.
Yep. Unfortunately, we can't death warp through the water because it'll spawn us right at the beginning of the section. But we can take a quick death there to refill the health, which is nice, I suppose. Since, you know, I believe now is the spider's next, right? I'm not crazy now?
Yeah, yes, the spider, or I like to call him the Muppet, is next. So yeah, you're good, Fig. You're good.
So having health for that fight is helpful, since there's almost no way not to take some damage from the fight. But we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get there. You're not missing any items before you go forward, right?
No, I shouldn't be. I hope not.
Okay, just doing those checks.
I understand. Yeah, I totally understand. I have this habit of, like, once in a while forgetting something. And then my chat's like, what the heck you doing, Pa?
We all do that at some point or another.
Oh, yeah.
So I am curious, because I've noticed the counter in the bottom right corner. What do the clovers actually do?
Oh, the clovers, once you get, I believe, 4 of them, it gives you this very random effect. So, like, you get invisibility, you get something else. It's just the luck, really.
So literally, it's roll the lottery and get something.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, like, they pop up when you defeat enemies.
Another password. Write that one down too.
Oh yeah, totally. Please, I need that later. I totally need that later.
So yeah, we get the But yeah, this kind of gives us a hint as to where we also get to go, which is a lovely section of
Oh
the
yeah,
game.
we totally get to enter a Stargate, guys. Like I said, this game has everything 90s wise, so we get to enter that Stargate.
Rainbow Stargate.
Oh yes, Rainbow Stargate. Yes.
This section is probably my least favorite, visually speaking. It's just sort of like It's almost like visual, vomit in my opinion. Just there's so much color, and I don't like the color scheme either. But that's just because I'm me.
Yeah, you kind of get to see what's beyond the Stargate, and unfortunately, the coordinates of this place, they really must have screwed up on their coordinates.
Yeah, it's like rainbow hell.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just a weirdo. But yeah, so this section has a couple of items that need to be picked up. There is a number of these these wooden hearts, and there's some flowers that have been being picked up throughout the run. There's a couple that we need to get through this mine section, as well as the rainbow section of fun. There's also where we get to use that fairy water to sort of glitch instead of using another item, which you can easily get. It's not far out of the way, but rather than doing that backtracking now, it's easier just to move forward. And so she's going to use the fairy water here and essentially get one of these enemies to sort of attack her into the other enemies, which should allow her to pick up the heart. Oh, come on. Oh.
It doesn't want to cooperate.
All right, so I guess we get to do the intended route, which is to pick up the comb, which has no other use that I know of than this particular piece. So the change of the route isn't too big, like I was saying. The difference is that we're going to have to turn in some of these heart containers, or these wooden hearts, as well as flowers, to get the item we would need to get the other one, which just means we have to backtrack a little bit further. It's unfortunate, but basically the way the glitch would work is it would allow you to kind of get close enough to that item to pick it up, and then you wouldn't have to do this backtrack to get the item.
Yeah.
But we do get to see a particularly awesome piece of animation.
Yeah, like the comb's purpose is just to make Merlin look beautiful. Just so beautiful. That puts things in a trance.
Because, that makes sense.
Oh, totally makes sense,
Yeah, so here's the comb. We can grab that, then we can continue on. Unfortunately, we couldn't just, skip that. But it is what it is. So we get to do a little bit further in this particularly lovely section. But then we'll usually within the fight, it's pretty hard to avoid all damage, and there's not really a super safe spot. There's a safer spot, which she'll be standing in. And I think, if I recall correctly, you mentioned there's a way to death abuse on the spider itself, but I don't recall if that was actually something you were talking about.
Emulator, like I'm playing this on emulator just in case that lovely glitch at the beginning of the game didn't work out for me, just to have backup save states and all that fun stuff, but I've been able to pull it off during emulator. When you see at the end when the spider disappears, I can actually take damage from him, thus essentially death warping back to the entrance, saving time running away. Console-wise, I've tried, he runs way too fast. I haven't really had time to really sit down and see if I get closer, if I can do it or not. It's just something on the board of things I need to tinker with.
Yeah, so the item we picked up from the last wooden heart excursion is this like dandelion icicle. I don't know what it's really supposed to. I don't think it's a dandelion, but basically it's a snowflake, I think.
It's a snowflake, yeah. We call it the holy tire iron because it looks like a tire iron with magistry all around it.
But what it does is it freezes enemies like this freeze powder, but it does the whole screen as opposed to just a little area. So it's a pretty awesome item. Unfortunately, we don't get to use it very much, as I believe we get rid of it in the next section after this boss.
Yeah, you have a use for the holy tire iron, and then during the final, there is a boss rush. Spoiler alert, guys. That you fight all these bosses again. So You unfortunately use it and then you get rid of it.
Gonna freeze everything, and hopefully the spiders don't get a chance to hit. But sometimes they get on top of you a little fast, and you can take some damage.
Yeah.
Again, it is a safer spot, but it's not a perfect safety.
Yeah, usually if I'm far away enough, I have enough time that I can kick the holy tire iron off, and I won't take any damage from the little spiders. The farther away you are, the better. Unfortunately, farther away, you can't be too close to trying that damage boost.
Yeah. So in this case, she managed to get through it without taking any damage, which, for the sake of things, is solid, because it is kind of unsafe to take the damage. But again, if we could get a timing for the death warp into the run, that would be a helpful time save. So it might be more valuable to take a little bit more damage during the fight.
Yeah, like I said, it's one of those things I just need to add onto my to-do list of tinkering with stuff.
Yep. And so at this point, we're going to be turning in, I believe, the last of the wooden
Oh,
hearts.
second last, Fig.
There's one more, or I think
Yeah,
you
there's
grabbed
one
both
more.
of
You
them.
get ahead of yourself. Jeez, Fig.
Damn it.
Jeez,
Damn
Fig.
it.
I know I'm
But,
ahead, but geez, Fig, you're going way ahead. You're like predicting the lotto numbers ahead. Like, jeez.
Well, what I was trying to get to with that segue was to talk about the framed onion, which is the item that she just picked up. I think it's supposed to be an hourglass, but I like framed onion better. It essentially just freezes time. Unfortunately, during that period, you also freeze the cooldowns on your items, but it is required to get forward, and that's actually where you get the heart. That makes sense. Yeah, shut up.
Yeah, see.
But this item does have a use later on as well, besides just the timing puzzles that it allowed you to do.
Yeah, the frame onion is actually one of the big items that is... It has so many uses. Unfortunately, like Fig said, you can't attack. You can't even charge your items or anything like that. You just have to sit there and look pretty.
Yay, looking pretty.
Yeah, we got that. Merlin combed his hair, so he's uber pretty today.
Yeah, it's like wasn't even planned.
Yeah, totally wasn't planned.
So here's that final wooden heart. We can take a death warp since we don't need to go forward from this point. We get to turn this one in. This is the last one. For reals this time.
Yep.
I'm not jumping the gun.
Nope, he's not jumping the gun, guys. This is for real. You could trust him this time.
And this one gives you the lightning bolt, I believe,
Yes, it does.
which is an interesting spell.
Oh yeah, it's pretty shocking.
Yeah. Go, it's shocking. Hey, you threw one in too.
Dad, I'm so excited. I totally threw in a pun. I'm so punny, guys. Lols. Sorry.
But we'll be using this for the next boss fight as well, which is, I believe, the giant dragon.
Spoil it! Oh, you spoiled it.
Of course I'm gonna spoil
You're
it.
supposed to keep him a secret, man.
Well, fine. He's a secret. Just forget everything I just said.
Yeah, don't trust Fig on this time. It's totally not what he said.
Oh man. But we use a combination of the framed onion and the lightning bolt to essentially fight the dragon very safely and without any trouble. How much damage does this attack actually do?
Enough to kill you.
So yeah, you don't want to take a hit.
Yeah, because we haven't been collecting heart containers, a lot of stuff right now can kill us. The dragon can take off like 2.5 hearts. Basically, you're better off, he just kills you straight out.
So with this section, using the onion to open the gates, did a little safety freeze there instead of trying to sneak past the ant, because again, they're pretty nasty. But here we go for the fight with the dragon. Essentially, you lightning bolt him, then you freeze time and move to the side. I'm not sure if it's because he like has to finish his attack animation during the freeze before he'll like turn around. But basically, what will happen is he kind of attacks in whiffs, which is very nice because again, taking hits from this guy will end your life pretty quickly. Luckily, there's a checkpoint like right there, so it's not a huge loss. But ideally, you don't want to die.
Yeah, dying sucks in this game, just saying.
I mean, it's fairly forgiving in a lot of places, but there's some places where you definitely don't want to die, like the water sections where it essentially undoes what you've done.
The minecarts too.
Oh yeah, that's true. the minecarts are bad. Speaking of, hey, good, we're on some minecarts. So this is the sort of final section, if I recall. Essentially, this is setting up for that boss rush we had mentioned previously. So basically, you have to get yourself to each of the individual spots where the bosses are. You get rid of one of your items to open the boss room, which also opens up the next section after you defeat the boss. And again, these are some tight inputs. There's these potholes, which are the hard part of this section.
And there may have been some RNG manipulation during, said minecarts. Just saying, just saying.
Yeah. No speedrunner, dies unintentionally.
Oh yeah, pure RNG
All
manipulation.
disintentional, all the way. But so this section we get rid of the lightning bolt we just used. So yeah, we didn't use that very long.
Yeah, we missed you,
Then we
lightning
can
bolt.
start the boss rush.
And yeah, like Fig said, this is our boss rush. So we might fight all the bosses except one. I'm not gonna say which one. I'm really sad about it because we didn't get to spend a whole lot of time with him. But yeah.
So much like the first fight with the spider, we're essentially going to freeze and attack. But this time we actually have to defeat the spider itself. But luckily it's essentially the same thing, but you just move to get into position. And again, these spiders can, if you're not on point, hit you. They do pretty good damage very quickly, since especially there's multiple of them. But boss on here has been like on point with the freezing. So again, we freeze and attack the spider. You might throw some webs which spawn spiders. They can hit you. But again, you just use the awesome snowflake, freeze them, and it gets rid of them. So there's the boss fight. To have the dad show up, shake our hand, accept us, give us his flask of whatever liquid that is. I'm assuming it's vodka.
You say vodka, I say holy, high quality H2O.
I'm gonna go with vodka, or maybe gin. Although I prefer the vodka personally. But yeah, now we get to go back into the mines. Luckily, there's that sort of checkpoint after defeating that. But again, we have to sort of manipulate the cart. There is a small mechanic I didn't mention earlier, which is that you can speed up the movement by holding the direction you're going. I believe that you can also go left and right to dodge the potholes while doing so, which is kind of a cool little piece to the mechanics for this section. But yeah, so now we get rid of our snowflake, unfortunately, and then I believe we're fighting Thunderpig again.
Yeah, we're fighting Thunderpig again with a vengeance.
Yeah, he's got like a bunch of like lackeys and he can actually like hurt you. And the fight's fairly straightforward. Again, we use the mirror if needed. Hopefully not. There we go. Sweet. Perfect timing. And I don't remember who we save here. Do we save anybody here? Oh, it's a fairy, of course. Come on. It's on the screen. And then we move on to, I think it's Bloop again?
Yeah, we fight Bloop again.
But this section I'm going to be quiet because there is a audio cue that she's going to be using to skip a cutscene to avoid having to rescue a person. So I'm going to go ahead and go silent time here for a moment, guys. So sit tight. All right. So to talk about that fight while we do this final challenging minecart section.
Oh, I need full concentration on it.
Yeah, absolutely. The fight is much the same. The only difference is there's not a safe spot, so use the mirror instead. But everything else is the same. But because we wanted to take that sort of audio cue for the defeat and walk out, we essentially skipped saving the wizard, I believe it was.
Yeah,
and that allows you to skip that bit.
Yeah, we ignore the wizard. We don't appreciate rescuing him. We just say we're done. Bye.
He's crafty. He can save stuff.
True.
So coming in here is kind of the final two bosses. The first is the Meanie King again. In this particular case, we're going to be using the Fire Stick. It's the first time we've used it the whole time. It's helpful because it essentially hits all the enemies, which makes it a little bit easier to defeat these eyeballs. Alright, I thought it was all of them, but I guess it's just one of them. But it allows you to safely fight them. He's going to summon a few of those, we're going to defeat them, and then we're going to use the balloon to skip an attack, I think it is, at the end, and then go into the final boss itself, which is RNG hell, but we'll talk about that in a moment. I think you wanted to concentrate during that section, so I'll talk about it then? Or...
Oh yeah, if please.
Okay, so the last boss here coming up is this giant demon moose. Great demon moose of demon moosery. He's going to start by throwing these attacks, which we use the balloon to essentially negate, because again, the iframes that come with it. Then we're going to use the mirror here, which allows us to sneak on in and save the princess here or whatever. I'm not sure if she's actually a princess, but she gives you a pendant. And this pendant is the only thing that'll hurt the demon moose, and this whole section is essentially an RNG fest, because the lightning off this thing just sort of goes off in a random area. And this means that sometimes you'll hit him once, sometimes you'll hit him a couple of times, but you also sometimes hit him 0 times. And so the fight is essentially manipulating sort of your position so he doesn't jump on you, because again, he can basically one-shot you. And then you use the pendant on cooldown and hope. You just hope that you'll hit him at least once. More times is better.
Yeah, and I've looked at guides, and they all say the same thing. This thing's, like, accuracy is just terrible, so you really have to pray that RNG is nice to you during this boss fight.
Luckily, it went pretty well this time. I think that was one of the faster times I've seen.
It is.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it totally is.
And that's young Merlin.
Yeah, so enjoy the ending. He finally gets the girl of his, I guess, dreams? I want to say dreams. He just saw her randomly drowning in the water, so yeah.
I mean, you could say that it's literally the girl of his dreams.
I guess, yeah.
Because this game has one of those really cliche endings. I think we've seen it in very, very many places.
Quite a bit in the 90s, you know.
Oh no, it was all a dream. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, totally unfortunate.
Or was it?
Dun dun dun.
So yeah, that was the young Merlin run here by Pasama.
Yes, I want to say it's the greatest run. There was a lot of problems, but I'm still happy with it.
Yep. Again, unfortunately, we had the internet issues. Hopefully, it wasn't too completely terrible. But yeah, I mean, what can you do? Internet is the internet. Sometimes it's nice. Sometimes
you call
it's
your
not.
internet provider and then you rage on them.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain I know what you're gonna do after you have your victory donut and enjoy your evening.
Oh, totally.
Call
Yeah,
them.
totally gonna be calling a particular internet provider.
Yep. So I am Figbird, as was said earlier, helping commentate for Young Merlin with Pasama, the awesome runner here.
Yeah, I'm.
Definitely should follow.
Sorry. Yeah. So I am Pasama. I run weird games. Lufia Ancient Cave. One of my runs I usually do is Clock Tower. Quite a bit of the games in that series. I am branching out. I don't have any games on my belt right now, but I am branching out. I plan on doing like Sweet Home. I plan on doing Mystic Quest. Hopefully also Super Pitfall, because Fig is a wimp and cannot beat that game.
Why did you have to bring that up?
Because I can.
Ugh.
A couple other games I'm planning on running in the future. So yeah, like I said, if you want to give me a follow, by all means, give everybody a follow. Oprah Winfrey it up.
Yeah, everybody gets a follow.
And once again, thanks to Fiesel so much for accepting my run. It's truly an honor to run in this. This is my first, like, big marathon. Once again, I apologize for the internet. It does suck. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate all you guys watching this run of runs. And yeah, I believe we are switching over pretty quick to Time Slip with, oh my goodness. I'm gonna butcher your name. I am so sorry. Kahanaphone?
It's Cananaphone.
Cananaphone.
Yeah.
Okay, I totally butchered that.
It's okay. I'm worse
Like
than you are.
banana phone.
Well,
But with a K.
I screwed it up, okay? I failed. All right, you guys
Oh,
have a
good
good
times.
day, have a good night, have a good morning. I will hopefully see you guys when I stream next time.
And thanks again for having us.
Well, and thank you so much, both of you, for the run and commentary from this pretty interesting young Merlin game, may I say.
Yeah, it was
So,
definitely an interesting game.
to see at least. So yeah, so we were trying to set up Kanana phone so he can go with his time slip. So again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in the SNES Superstar Marathon dedicated to all Super Nintendo games. Sorry about the laugh, I just banana phone. Oh my god, the chat is going nuts. If you have missed any runs so far, please type in !VODS. That will pull up the playlist for the marathon. Runs will be uploaded as soon as possible, so don't worry about that. And I believe we have Kanana phone ready. So
First, we're going to switch audio sources, so stay tuned.